Imagine turning your competition into your greatest asset. Sounds crazy, right? But what if sharing guests could actually lead to more direct bookings, stronger relationships, and a thriving community of trusted property managers? Stay tuned.
You are listening to the Direct Booking Success Podcast, bringing you all the information you need for your short-term rental to stand out from the crowd. I'm your host, Jen Boyles. As an owner and manager myself, I know how hard it can be to navigate the hospitality industry. I'm here to help, so you too can have direct booking success.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Direct Booking Success Podcast. I'm Jen Boyles, your host. And today I have Deborah Labi with me. Now, Deborah is not only the founder of Have You Got, but also the visionary behind the Guest Inspector, the Green Path podcast, the Texplain series, and so many other things. She actually started managing her properties in Australia 18 years ago. So welcome,
Thank you very
Deborah.
much, Jen. Lovely to see you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, it's so great to have you here today. So let's start off with a bit of your background and how you got started in
Yeah.
short-term
So
rentals.
it was back in 2006, and I suffered a little bit of a personal trauma, and I really needed to go overseas. I just moved into my home, and a friend of mine suggested that I holiday rent my home. And I was like, why would anyone want to rent a home in the center of Sydney? Because when we were doing holiday rentals, we were going up the coast and down the coast in the bush, holiday, right? So it didn't occur to me that someone wants to go to a city and rent a home. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'll figure it out. I managed to do it. Great. It was all great. And it just snowballed from there. So I was managing my property. I took on a couple of other properties. Word got out, just word of mouth through. One of them was an old school friend, and then through her, all of her friends and my neighbor. She knocked on the door. Hey, you're doing holiday rentals. Can you look after my home too? That's pretty good when your neighbor actually hands over their property when they go on holiday. So everything was ticking along wonderfully. I had the thought about Have You Got back in 2016, and I'll explain how and why that all came to be. And then I started going to conferences from about 2017. So I sort of discovered the global world of vacation rentals. Wow, there are other people in the world doing this. And then COVID came along 2020, and I lost my business. I had been working remotely. I was digital nomad for about 15 years. So working remotely and going back and forth to Australia a couple of times a year just to polish things up, or reorder linen, stock, stuff like that, keep an eye on the properties. And so with Australia closing the border for 2 years, I didn't want to get locked in. I wanted to get locked out. So I chose to get out. And so there was, I lost my business. But there are so many other opportunities in this industry, and I had so many ideas. So it's not like there was a dull moment after that.
Great. We're going to start by talking about
Yeah.
guest referrals because why do you think they could be such a powerful tool for
Okay.
direct
So
bookings?
over my years, I turned away, I would say, maybe not thousands, but definitely hundreds and hundreds of guests, return guests, website inquiries. And the thing is, when you start off in the industry pre OTAs, back in the day when there were listing sites and they gave you the booking. So when you start off your career in this industry with direct bookings, you want to keep direct bookings because that gives you the control over your business. So when I got these inquiries that sorry, I can't help you. I kept thinking, I don't want this guest to go to an OTA. I would much rather this guest went to another independent property manager. Only because I just didn't want the OTAs to get the business. I thought if that guest found me, I want to keep it. I want to give it to another little guy. So that's where the idea came from about sharing the guests. And it's to keep the guests off the OTA, but it's also a really good service to give the guest. The guest has come to you because they want to book something. If you just say, I can't help you, and you just send them off into the wilderness of OTA listing sites, things like that, it's not a nice guest experience. What if you can say, I haven't got anything for you, but I'm part of a network, or I can refer you to another property manager, they'll look after you. It's a nice way for the guest to actually feel looked after rather than being turned away. I mean, if you wanted to find something where you wanted to book something and someone turned you away, how would you feel about that person versus the person that's being helpful? So it is all about offering that
Yeah.
guest a helpful service, and they will remember you for being helpful rather than turning you away.
And how does that build trust between the guest and the host? Because there's a recommendation
Exactly.
behind it. Is
So
that
word of mouth, referrals, recommendations. If there is another independent property manager who's all about taking direct bookings, chances are they're sort of at a certain level. They've got their own website. Their business depends on good reviews, good service. So if this guest has found me and has understood that they could trust me if they're new to my website, they've gotten the idea that they can trust me and they're making an inquiry and I can't help them, but yet I'm still going to help them, then that's a pretty big signal to the guest that I'm going to look after you. And since I can't look after you with one of my properties, but another of the managers can look after you. So it is all about making the guest feel looked after. Now, even if the guest is a return guest, great to have you back, but I'm really sorry I can't help you this time. But, I know other property managers, blah, blah, blah. So as long as you're helping the guest and you're referring the guest, then it is all about trust and staying together like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see from the guest side of things, they will
Yeah.
feel so good that you're taking the time. It's not something you
Hmm.
have to do, but you're taking the time to refer them
Yeah.
to someone else. Now, let's talk about the
Yeah.
competition. We're in hospitality, and thankfully, most people that we meet in hospitality are
Yeah.
very hospitable and very nice. And I've spoken to a lot of people coming from other industries that say, "Wow, I wasn't expecting such nice people," because a lot of industries
Yeah.
aren't like that. However, if you're in an area and Joe Blow is down the street and they're running their property
Hmm.
management business, you can't fault them for thinking of them as the
Hmm.
competition. If you start referring
Hmm.
guests to them, how can this actually benefit you in the
Well,
long
remember
run?
that you're the one helping the guest, and they will remember that. Think of that scenario earlier. I can't help you. They go to your competition and they book with them, and now they're building a relationship with them. By you saying, I can't help you, but I will help you, they're going to remember you. Wow. Now, the idea is that it's the back and forth. This collaboration is a two-way street. So the competition will eventually also have to turn away a guest. Now, just remember, if you turn away a guest, you've lost the guest. So if the competition ever turns away a guest because, oh no, I don't want to give them the guest. Well, you know what? Hey, presto, that guest is on his way over to me and I'm being helpful. So that guest will stick with me. So it's all about creating a network of people that are ready to help the guest. The guest is the priority. Competition is gone. Because if you can help the guest, then you're all working together. You're going to give them bookings, you're going to get bookings. It's a two-way street, and the guest will always keep coming back.
Yeah, no, I like that. Such a good thing to remember that you're helping each other. And when that host or that property manager gets into a situation where they have to turn
Hmm.
away a guest, they might think, oh, yeah, you remember that time that
Yeah.
Deborah sent
Now
us a
think about it.
guest?
It's not just I'm full. What about if your return guest comes back to you and says, oh, look, I really want to come back. Have you got a property with a pool? No, but maybe someone in my network does. Let's see. And that could happen to your competition as well. So it's not just about my calendar is full. It's about what sort of properties do you have? Do you have any pet friendly properties with pool, with whatever else, games room, big screen TVs? It's also about broadening your inventory, what sort of amenities or the niches that you offer. Yes, just helping the guest. Plus, also, there are times where, for example, the hot water goes in a property and you need to relocate the guest. Really? Do you want to spend your time online trying to find another property for that guest? It's usually like, I need to find something now. The guest doesn't have hot water and they're on holiday. So even a property manager having to relocate a guest can use it, and they could easily find the property for the guest. Yeah. Within the network.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you've made a really good point there about it's
Yeah.
not just if you're full, if it's something else that has come up, if there's something's happened to your property and you need to
Hmm.
rehouse people, I think that's a
Mm.
really good idea. So how do we start
Okay.
this?
I think it's a matter of doing an internet search and picking up the phone and say, look, this is what I want to do. I don't want to turn away a guest. I think it's really bad for business if we turn away a guest. And I'd really like to be able to share them with you. Like, I can see your properties online. They're pretty good. Your reviews are really good. Do you want to get on board and do you want to do some sharing and get a network going? I mean, it only takes one other company, but if you've got a number, then you've got a better choice, so you've got a broader range of property. You might have, really ideally, you want studios to villas. You never know who's going to come back and ask for
Mhm.
what. I had a range, but at the most, I only had 6 properties all year, which skyrocketed to 15 in summertime over peak season. But I had the range, but I still always had people coming back. Have you got a property in this other suburb? No. It just kept, it broke my heart. All the inquiries I got, return guests, I can't help you. Can you change your dates? And then I would even go online and I would look for properties. And it was just always a bit fruitless and it took too much of my time. Yeah. But get on the internet,
Mhm.
pick up the
Mhm.
phone, start talking to some local managers. But I have found it's a
And
little bit, you do actually need to educate them. This is a whole new way of thinking about collaborating versus competition. So you might have to convince them that it's worth it for the guest satisfaction and the return guest to keep them between your network, your local network. It's worth
yeah, and I think that like in anything that's worthwhile doing, I think needs a conversation and to talk about reasons
it.
why
Yeah.
you wanna do this. And keeping the guest in
Yeah.
the area is really a win-win because if you're full, they might decide to go somewhere else
Yeah. Yeah.
completely.
Yep. That's true. Keeps them in the area. Better that the guest is there and someone else gets a booking and the guest stays local. Yeah.
Now, what about those reviews that these guests are making? They could be making reviews for the person that
Hmm.
you've referred them to, but they could actually be referencing you and your business in their
Exactly. They
review.
can say how helpful you were. And we couldn't stay there, but we stayed here and it's great too. And da 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 da. It's a win win. Yes, absolutely. There's definitely that
Yeah.
possibility that they can thank you in a review. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So it's another person out there blowing the horn
exactly.
for you and
Now, remember, if
promoting it.
you've
Yeah.
helped that guest and a friend of theirs wants to come visit the area, the helpful one is going to, yeah, they really care. They really will look after you. That is going to add to the word of mouth about your business because you were so helpful.
Yeah, even if that second stay
Yes.
was amazing, they're gonna say, "This is the
Yeah.
place I stayed first.
Yeah.
They were awesome. When they couldn't accommodate me, they moved me here, which
Mm,
was great too, but this person was
yeah.
so helpful."
Yeah. It really cements the relationship with the guest.
Yeah, and I think it's just getting out of that mindset
Yeah.
of competition, so collaboration
Yeah.
over
I think
competition.
everyone needs to put themselves in the situation. They're coming to someone for something. One person says, sorry, I can't help you. You got to leave. And the other person says, I can help you. I can't help you, but I can. Now you be that person. Which one would you rather go to? Which one will you go back to?
Yeah, I know which one I
Exactly.
would go back
Yeah.
to.
Mm.
Definitely. All right. So let's talk about
Yep.
have you got because this is basically a referral network that you
Yeah.
have created. So can you tell us the story about how this
Yeah.
came to
So
be?
this goes back to 2016 when I finally got so sick of typing, sorry, I can't help you. Because, it dawned on me that not only am I not being able to help the guest, I'm actually turning away a booking. This is money. They want to hand over money and book a property, and I'm turning them away. Oh my God. That really, it was very frustrating. And I didn't know any property managers in Sydney. And I thought, you know what? It's time. I got to build a network. I got to build something that can automate it or make it easy. People can join the network and it can grow from there. So that's how the idea started. So I could refer the guests that I was turning away. To explain how have you got evolved and how it is today, if you want to look at it on the micro level, property managers sign up and it works locally. You have a guest you can't refer. You fill in a very short form, guest name and email, phone number, dates, location, any keywords that they're looking for, bedrooms, whatever they're looking for. It's a very short, simple form. If you already have a WhatsApp group, chances are you're already putting that information into the WhatsApp group. But on Have You Got, you fill in this form, you hit submit, and that's all you have to do to refer your guest. Have You Got takes over from there, and then within 10 seconds, the guest will get an email saying, so and so referred you, to remind the guest who it was that is helping them, and a link to Have You Got with their search already in there with the properties that are available for their stay. And if they book one, it's exactly like a listing site. There's the property, the photos, description, reviews, location, everything is there. If they book it, then the referrer gets a commission. And then the referring manager will get an email saying, your guest booked, and this is how much commission you've just earned. So that's all you had to do to refer the guest. Fill in a form, hit the button, Have You Got does everything else. Now, if there are no properties available, we don't want that because that's a bad guest experience. So we advise the guest to either change the dates, change the area a little bit, and the property manager gets notified too that they were not, especially if it's a last minute thing, advise the guest to change location, dates, or, to try and be a bit more flexible to try to help them. So that's how the guest referrals work. So if you can get property managers on board in your local area, when a guest is coming to you and they want to stay in this area, if there are other property managers, you hit the share inquiry button and hopefully the guest will find something local.
And does this cost more to the
So
guest?
it costs the same as if they'd booked it on Airbnb. So what happens is it's the same. We price match to Airbnb. That markup is the fee that we take. So the property manager still gets the direct booking price. So the property manager doesn't miss out on a
Okay.
direct booking price. Oh, and so I need to say that when the guest books, the property manager who got the booking gets a WhatsApp notification that you got a booking and an email instantly, and an email saying, this is the booking, this is the guest, the name, the dates, all the details, phone number, how much they've paid for their deposit and what's left to collect. And it's yours. You take the payment, you put it into your PMS. It's a direct booking. It's exactly like the guest had emailed you saying, I want to stay here, da 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 da, and this is the price that I saw quoted. So,
Okay. So the commission that goes to the person who's
yeah,
referred the booking, is from that little bit of markup, like an
correct.
Airbnb
Correct.
commission.
So
Okay.
that's the fact that,
Got
that we split for the commissions, and the property managers get their book direct price. As long as you're marking up the rates on Airbnb by 15%, you'll get your direct booking price.
Yes. Which we all should be doing anyways,
Exactly.
right?
The other thing is that if you find that the guest is not a good fit, like, oh my God, it's a bunch of 16-year-olds, I'm not having this guest, you can actually cancel the booking. You don't have to accept it. Even if you have accepted it and you've discovered through your guest verification that it's like, oh, no, wait a second. You can cancel the guest and it's penalty free.
Okay, because it's a
Correct.
direct booking, right? It's a
Yes.
direct booking. So it's just the referral process
Yes,
that you're
but it's
involved with.
also an instant booking. So you can accept it or you don't have to accept it. And I built this, I designed this for property managers. I don't want anyone telling me what I shouldn't, what I can and can't do. If I don't want that guest, don't you dare penalize
Mhm.
me. So there is no penalty. You just have to CC Have You Got in the email to the guest to say, I'm sorry, it's not a good fit or whatever reason. and the guest will get a refund of their booking fee.
Yeah, well, it does
Yeah,
sound very fair because the guest is only paying what they would pay on
exactly.
Airbnb. And they've already gone through one property manager who
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
"Sorry, I can't help you, but I know where you could stay or how
yeah,
I could help you." And usually, I'd think if it was me, I'd think I'd pay a little
yeah,
extra for that
yeah.
help
Now the thing
anyway,
is, I'm
you
all for
know?
direct bookings. The primary goal is everyone gets direct bookings because there will be one day when your direct booking strategy is working too well and you have to turn away a guest. Direct bookings is great, but have you got is the safety net. So even though that guest has come back or found you on your website, you can still help them even though you're full or you haven't got the right property and things like that. So I say that it makes your direct
Mhm.
booking strategy leak proof because there will come a time where if you're really doing well with direct bookings, you might have to turn them away. And that's really bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I just want
yeah.
to add also,
I'm thinking that
yeah,
yeah,
that's the micro
yeah.
level, the local level. And now I always used to get asked, we're going to Melbourne next. Have you got anything in Melbourne in Australia? Now, the thing is, they've met me, they trust me, and now they want to go to Melbourne. So I was like, no. And then one guest actually asked, they were going to New Zealand. Have you got anything there? No. So if you zoom back from the local community, the local referral network, you can actually refer a guest to anywhere in the Have You Got network. So some guests, they might be in London and they might say, oh, we're going to Edinburgh next. Have you got anything there? Yes, I'm part of a network. Sure. Let me help you. Or we're going to Barcelona next. Have you got anything there? Yeah, sure. So you can help them. I mean, guests always ask when they're going somewhere else, they mention it. Oh, yes, we can help you. The beauty of this is that you could actually have a button on your website that says, where are you going to next? We're part of a global ID verified network and we can help you. There, they hit the button, they go down the Have You Got rabbit hole, and you've just earned passive income from a button on your website.
Oh my goodness. Love it. Deborah, what
Yeah.
a good idea. And do these referrals work better for certain types of properties or locations?
No,
Have you seen that?
everywhere. It's fine for everything. Guests want to go somewhere and they want help to find something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
Okay.
it's hard work.
No,
It's
that is
hard work
awesome. Yeah.
finding accommodation. Some people dread it, some people love it, but it's hard work. There's a lot out there. And Have You Got is one website where all the independent property managers are. And the key thing about Have You Got is that every property manager has been ID verified, and they haven't been ID verified by me. They've been ID verified by a verification company. But during the registration, they go off, they get verified, and then they get let back in. And now you're in, you've been verified. So I market Have You Got as a scam free website. There's so much scamming going on Airbnb, now booking.coms, and that making the headlines too. Well, you know what? If you want to book with confidence, you book within my ID verified network. Again, it's all about trust
Mhm.
and helping the guests, and everyone's happy. It also means that you can refer confidently too, because when you're referring into the network, no scammer's going to pick up your guest.
Yeah, no, I love it because we all know about the scams. We've
Yep.
heard about them. We've seen them. And what a better way to get to that
Yeah.
trust than to go through someone that
Yes,
you trust.
absolutely.
And
Yep.
that's where the referral comes in. Now, what about the future?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you see the future of guest referrals going? Because they could play quite a bigger role, couldn't
Yeah.
it? Quite a big role in
Now, the
direct
way I look at
bookings.
it is that you've got the OTAs, they're feeding you some guests. You've got your own bookings, direct bookings coming in. If you want to consider, have you got, or a referral network, and OTA, there's lots of inventory and lots of bookings going round, and they're all direct and they're all staying in the network. Now, wouldn't that be wonderful? We're offering a service to the guest that the OTAs can't offer. There's the quality there because everyone's verified, everyone's professional. So there's not going to be any like, oh my God, the place had bed bugs or it wasn't anything like the listing photos. It's not like that at all. So we could end up with a pool of guests that only book in the Have You Got network because it's so trusted. So we could really build something quite independent. And like I said, direct bookings are the main thing, and then referrals are the backup. So it is all about, I want
Wow.
everyone to get as many direct bookings as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's music,
Yeah.
music to my ears, Deborah.
Yeah.
Music to my ears. So if people are interested, they're going, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to find out
Yeah.
more. Where should
So
they
if
go?
they want to register, they can sign up at www.haveyougot.com. You have to just register and be verified. And then after that, I can get all of your properties on with just one URL. We can discuss it when you've signed up. One URL, I onboard all the properties. It's not a problem. You'll be on the map.
Yeah. And so if you're listening to this, go to
Mm.
haveyougot.com. I think the idea of collaboration over competition is a
Yeah.
hard one for
Yeah.
some people to get their
Yes.
mind around because we're brought up thinking that if you have a bakery and there's a bakery next door, they're your
Mm.
competition. Don't
Mm.
tell them anything because they might
Mm.
steal our secrets or whatever it is, or they'll get the
Yeah.
customers in.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can see that being a point that people just need to get their
Yeah.
mind
I'm
around it.
finding that I did a survey actually on LinkedIn, and I'm sort of finding that it's some of the larger property managers that don't want to share guests. And their excuse is, I paid a lot of money to attract this guest. And I think they've got such a big inventory that they figure, well, I don't have to turn them away. I'll just put them somewhere else. But in fact, if they do ever turn them away, then you spent so much money to get the guest and now you've lost them. The other thing is that if they've got so much inventory and us little guys don't have so much inventory and we're doing all the great service, we're the ones getting all the good reviews and we're the ones getting the return guests, then we're going to be the ones sharing them into the network. And it could be the bigger guys that clean up a little bit on some of those bookings. So it pays to be on Have You Got.
Yeah, I can see that. And I can see that even if you are thinking, I don't
Mm,
want to share, like being in that sandbox, I don't want to share my toys with the other kids, but it's still another channel that's bringing you
exactly.
bookings.
Exactly. You get other people's bookings, you get direct bookings from the guests coming directly to Have You Got. So yes, it's another channel. And you can make referral income and you can make passive income. Not only for that global passive button on your website, but you could also have a pop up as a guest is leaving your website. Oh, you didn't find what you're looking for? We're part of a local network, and maybe someone in my network, here's the referral link. And hey, presto, there could be another passive income thread for you. There's two lots of passive income plus the referral commission. You can make money on Have You Got doing nothing.
Yeah, love it. Well, not totally nothing. You have to have a
Yes,
great
yes, true,
customer
true, true.
service and experience for your
And you have to
guests
have
and all
him
that
coming
kind of
back.
stuff. You have
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
be a
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you've got to be an awesome property manager. That's what we're going for. But there's a lot of really awesome property
Yeah.
managers out there. And I love that you're wanting to champion them, share those bookings, and create another channel that is bringing in the bookings, which is so important. Thank you so much, Deborah. I'll put these
Hmm.
links in the show notes. Thank you so
My
much for coming
pleasure.
on
Thank you
today.
very much for the time. Thank you.
A huge thank you to Deborah Labi for coming on the Direct Booking Success podcast to speak about the power of referrals and her new venture, Have You Got? And I thank you for including this episode as part of your day. Please make sure you are following the Direct Booking Success podcast on your podcast app or on YouTube so new episodes will be dropped into your feed each week. Next week on the Direct Booking Success podcast, I'm going to be speaking with a special guest who will be giving you practical advice on how you can break free of Airbnb. Until then, go out and take action for your own direct booking success. Hey, thanks for listening to the Direct Booking Success podcast. For more information about this episode and others, head to the website directbookingsuccess.com/podcast. See you next time.